Imagine a world where the English never set foot to colonize the vast lands of North America. No Jamestown in 1607, no Plymouth Rock in 1620, no 13 colonies that would eventually spark a revolution and give birth to the United States of America. This single alteration in history would ripple across centuries, altering the political, economic, and cultural fabric of the modern world. The colonization of America by England was not just a venture of exploration, but the beginning of an empire that would shape global history. The English colonies would become a launching pad for revolutionary ideals, economic growth, and geopolitical dominance. But what if this never happened? How would the world's power dynamics, culture, and history have evolved if the English had abandoned their ambitions or had never attempted colonization? In the late 16th century, European powers were embroiled in fierce competition to expand their empires. Spain and Portugal were the early dominators of the seas, claiming vast territories in South America, the Caribbean, and Asia. France had already established footholds in parts of Canada and the Mississippi region, while the Dutch were expanding their trade networks in the Caribbean and Southeast Asia. England, emerging from its own political and religious turmoil during the Tudor period, saw colonization as a path to wealth, power, and religious freedom for its citizens. The defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 signaled England's rising naval power, paving the way for ambitious expeditions to the New World. The establishment of Jamestown in 1607 marked England's first permanent settlement in North America, followed by the Pilgrims' arrival at Plymouth in 1620. Had England never colonized North America, the continent's fate would have been starkly different. The French, Spanish, Dutch, and even indigenous nations would have remained dominant forces in the region. France might have expanded its territories beyond Canada and the Mississippi, turning North America into a vast French empire. Spain would likely have solidified control over the southern parts of the continent, from Florida through Mexico and into Central America. The Dutch colonies, though smaller, would continue to thrive along the coastlines. Native American tribes might have retained more autonomy for a longer period, perhaps forming powerful confederations and alliances to resist European dominance. Without English colonies in America, the political map of the world would be dramatically altered. The absence of the United States means no American Revolution, no Declaration of Independence, and no formation of the Federal Republic that would inspire countless other nations. Europe would maintain a balance of power dominated by monarchies, with no rising democratic superpower to challenge them. France's influence in the Americas would have likely grown, possibly sparking earlier conflicts with Spain and other colonial powers. The British Empire, lacking the economic and strategic benefits of American colonies, might have focused more on India and other parts of Asia, but without the wealth and manpower from America, its global dominance would be significantly weakened. The English colonies in America provided raw materials, agricultural products, and trade opportunities that fueled the British economy. Tobacco, cotton, timber, and later industrial goods were integral to Britain's prosperity. Without this, the British Industrial Revolution might have been delayed or taken a different course. Moreover, the transatlantic trade routes that connected America, Europe, and Africa might have been dominated by other European powers, such as France or the Dutch. The infamous triangular trade involving slaves, goods, and raw materials may have existed, but with a different dynamic and scale. The English colonization brought with it the English language, legal systems, and cultural practices that have shaped much of the modern world. Without it, the dominant language in North America might be French, Spanish, or various indigenous languages. The American dream, the idea of liberty, democracy, and opportunity, would not have emerged in the way we know it. Without English-speaking America, the cultural exports that shaped the 20th and 21st centuries, Hollywood, jazz, rock and roll, and technological innovation hubs like Silicon Valley, would have taken an entirely different form or might not have existed at all. The United States played pivotal roles in both world wars, particularly in halting Nazi Germany and later in the Cold War. Without a powerful American presence, World War II could have had a very different outcome. Nazi Germany might have secured dominance over Europe, and the Soviet Union might have extended its influence further westward unchecked. The global balance of power would have likely tilted toward authoritarian regimes for a longer period, delaying the spread of democracy and capitalism. NATO, the United Nations, and many international institutions shaped by the US would either not exist or be vastly different. Without English colonization, Native American tribes might have maintained more land land and cultural autonomy. French and Spanish colonial policies were different, often involving alliances and intermarriage with native peoples, which could have led to different outcomes. Powerful indigenous confederacies could have emerged, creating political structures that might have influenced continental politics. The devastating impact of English settlers on native populations through wars, displacement, and disease might have been lessened or delayed. In this alternate timeline, North America could be a patchwork of French, Spanish, Dutch, and indigenous territories. The world might lack a dominant superpower like the United States, resulting in a multipolar world where European monarchies remain strong. Technological and social progress might have followed a slower or different path, with no Silicon Valley or American innovations driving the digital age. Cultural expressions and freedoms would vary greatly, and global political ideologies like democracy and capitalism might not have achieved the global influence they hold today. In this alternate timeline, North America could be a patchwork of French, Spanish, Dutch, and indigenous territories. The world might lack a dominant superpower like the United States, resulting in a multipolar world where European monarchies remain strong. Technological and social progress might have followed a slower or different path, with no Silicon Valley or American innovations driving the digital age. Cultural expressions and freedoms would vary greatly, and global political ideologies like democracy and capitalism might not have achieved the global influence they hold today. The decision of England to settle colonies in America set in motion a cascade of events that shaped the modern world. Removing that single thread from history unravels a tapestry of political revolutions, economic transformations, and cultural evolutions. While it's impossible to know exactly how different the world would be, imagining such a scenario helps us appreciate the fragile interplay of historical forces that have led us to the present day. The story of what might have been reminds us that history is not predetermined, but shaped by choices, chance, and human ambition.